Live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And yes, here we are again another day committed to being your consumer advocate, helping you understand your buying decisions and making you more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Our goals are to help you win. We're going to entertain, educate, and enlighten. And most importantly, we'd love to engage with you on our hotline. You can reach out at 813-750-0550. Call or text the hotline. That's 813-750-0550. And consumerqb.com. You can see links to all of our expert contributors at consumerqb.com. And we got a great lineup for you for today. Coming up on the show today, we're going to talk about some of the stuff happening online. Lots of scams online, identity theft, prevention is a key. We got Vine IT as well. Nathan Ginter coming on. Security services online. You know, there's a lot happening in that space. Patrick Morades as well visits us again in studio here. Axis Group, local company, and he is a professional employer organization, PEO. I'm going to talk about business in that category as well. And Fred DeFelice, waterscience.us, coming up here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Great lineup for you of expert contributors for the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we want to thank one of our sponsors here, Replenish IV Solutions, the science of nutritional balance. And if you want to feel energized, hydrated, and replenished, reach out to our friends at Replenish IV Solutions, and it's a safe and effective way to restore your body's systems with crucial vitamins and nutrients, enabling them to perform at optimal conditions. Multiple Bay Area locations. I go down to the Gandy Boulevard location once every 3 or 4 weeks, and I go get juiced up. You know, I get a vitamin infusion drip. The nurses on staff are excellent to work with, and they put all the good stuff in there for you. So vitamins right into your bloodstream. Reach out to Replenish IV Solutions. Make sure you let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. And we'd love to talk about our real estate properties here as a top 1% ranked real estate team in Keller Williams. We'd love to help you here. We got a property for sale, 5402 U.S. Highway 92. If you're looking to buy a business, I know a lot of people are investing in Tampa Bay right now. This is a great opportunity. 5402 U.S. Highway 92. I've got a bar for sale, the Finish Line Saloon in Plant City, commercial property, corner lot, great location. And this is a property that's kicking off about $12,000 to $15,000 cash per week. That's per week. $12,000 to $15,000 cash per week, listed at $795,000. Great opportunity. You also have the 4 COP beverage license included with that. Great opportunity here in Tampa Bay. You can see all of our listings at PlatinumMVPTeam.kw.com.
This is God's country.
All right, Fred DeFelice, welcome back, sir.
Great to be here as always, man.
Yeah, man. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah.
Waterscience.us, and I see you brought some assets in here, some resources here. It looks like there's a lot of going on in the country with, in Connecticut, a condo had lead in its drinking water.
Yeah. Now, fortunately, here in Tampa Bay, our levels are below what they have to worry about, you know. But in certain areas, they are finding it, no question.
Wow. Yeah, this goes on to say water's at levels at more than double what the federal government deems acceptable. So lead in the drinking water. Also, you got a church in North Carolina. The water was contaminated with extremely high levels of potentially toxic PFAS chemicals, a group of compounds found in hundreds of household products. And water flowing into the Texas home had both, and concerning about arsenic, too.
Yeah. Arsenic you generally find in deep well water areas, you know. But as far as the PFAs, that we commonly known as forever chemicals. Once they're in the water, they're there.
Wow.
And it's from industry, it's from everything. Even putting fertilizer on the lawn, you know.
Wow.
And it rains and that washes down into our water. So, yeah, it's there forever.
So you got a solution for this stuff. There's chemicals in the water. There's there's chemicals. There's drugs in the water, over-the-counter type drugs, pharmaceutical drugs in the water.
Drugs.
Plastics. We talk about plastics in the water nowadays more than ever. Yeah. Runoff from the roads. You know, that all's going in somewhere. It's the tires are wearing down. Gasoline, different things. talk about the solution. We identify the problem,
Right.
and then we like to talk about the solution.
Exactly. Yeah. So we start out with our whole house water purification system. And this will take out all the bad stuff, but thankfully leaves in all the good minerals, which are healthy, right? So I want to talk about our immune system too a little bit. But our under sink unit, which we originally developed just to remove fluoride, has been tested to remove more than 200 other contaminants.
Wow.
And so we're very confident that we're getting rid of all of this. So basically our under sink unit is designed for, it goes under your kitchen sink. We put a separate faucet. That's for drinking and cooking.
Yeah.
You're not too concerned in the shower that you're absorbing these things. What you will absorb in the shower is the chlorine and chloramine.
Okay.
So we take care of that right off the bat.
Nice.
So, but for drinking and cooking, we firstly wanted to get rid of the fluoride and the pharmaceutical drugs, but we're also taking care of this as well.
Yeah. And it's interesting is in this my life here recently, I had a bypass heart surgery, and I'm always thinking about eating more healthy, and I started saying, okay, I'm going to eat more fish. And then you see the next documentary pop up on whatever streaming service you use, and it's like, well, the fish has this, the plastics in the water. What's your take on that? I mean, is it better to eat fish? Is it, to make a little bit of steak mixed in, chicken? What do you eat nowadays, right? Because the microparticles, if you're not aware, that they're in the waters, and then the fish will obviously eat the smaller fish, and then it's all kind of going into the ecosystem.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to see if I'd love to hire somebody to do a kind of a sampling here. Let's go to Publix, let's buy some fish. Let's go to a restaurant, buy some fish, and actually check it, chemically check it to see, or an experiment to see what's in there.
Yeah, that would be great to do. Unfortunately, most people have no idea where this stuff is coming from. God forbid you're getting fish from China
Right.
at all. I mean, that's a death sentence right there.
Yeah.
So unless you can catch wild-caught fish, I guess, is safe. But then again, depending what's in the water where they live.
Yeah.
So I don't know the answer. I really don't.
Yeah.
I work really close with Dr. Serrano in Palm Harbor.
Okay.
And he's always talking about the cumulative effects of the toxins that we ingest in our body.
Oh, yeah.
It gets to the point where it starts to affect different organs in your body if you can't,
Right.
you're just continually putting acidic in your body.
Right.
So we're really happy with our under sink system too, because it makes the water alkaline.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of theories about that, how good that is for you.
Yeah, I love it. I can tell you from firsthand experience, we have the product in our home, waterscience.us, a couple years ago, I think, roughly.
Yeah.
You came out, you hooked us up. We've got the whole house system, so everything coming in from the city into the county, depending on which municipality is handling your water, coming into the home, and then we do have the underwater sink system as well. So I drink almost exclusively that, and I like some of the Perrier type waters as too, with a little burst of bubble, but it's great. It tastes great. It's very, it's also something mentally just to know that you're putting good stuff in your body. Because I remember I used to just buy the plastic bottles, carry them around. Sometimes they get hot in the car, and anytime you're raising that temperature on the plastic, some people freeze them and then carry them with them too. And then you're also you're dropping that temperature. Talk about the effects of that and what potentially could happen too.
Yeah, it just absorbs everything right into the water.
Yeah.
So you're right. When it's heated, especially, is where the problem is.
Right.
And they some bottles they claim are safe, some are not. We just use glass.
Right. That's right. Use the glass bottles.
Yeah.
And then I carry this thing almost everywhere I go nowadays.
Stainless steel is good too.
Yep. So we're talking with Fred DeFelice here. Fred DeFelice, waterscience.us. You got a long history in this business as well. Talk about some of your accolades and how long you've been, because I remember you were just recently featured in a major publication too.
Yeah, I'm a second generation master plumber, and you always hear me say this. I've been in water most of my life, but mostly in hot water with my wife, and some of you guys don't understand that. Yeah. But over the years, I've worked with engineers, architects, scientists. I was with the Department of Environmental Resources for several years, and I just passionate about water. I've always had a passion about water. And when I came here to Florida is when I really got a shock, because I was in the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania before that, and we had our own well. The water was perfect.
Wow.
I mean, it was just great. Everything was great.
Yeah.
Come here, and that's when I learned about water softeners. I had no knowledge of that before. And I did all my due diligence and did a lot of investigating.
Yeah.
And found out how bad they really are. In fact, many states have already banned the use of them outright.
Yeah.
And besides the amount of water they waste, it pollutes the environment.
Yeah, water softeners are not good for the homeowners, and a lot of times that's the first thing they sell you on because they get the flyer in the mail or something like that. But they got to understand the technology behind waterscience.us versus the traditional old school, because that's an old technology.
It's old technology. Our system starts out with coconut shell, catalytic carbon, the only thing tested to remove the chloramine in our water. And then our second stage deals with the hard water minerals, so it doesn't stick on surfaces and leave scale deposits.
Yeah. Now,
but it cleans out your water heater, your appliances, and everything in the process.
Yeah, because you find that build up, and talking about that, Fred. We've also mentioned seasonal. We like to talk about seasonally appropriate advice. Right now, we're kind of in that season. We still have some of the snowbirds down, but I found it very interesting in a previous talk where you had mentioned the seasonal once it shifts, the water levels and the pipes and how that plays out and the potential risk there. Can you explain that for us?
Yeah, the flow when the snowbirds go, the flow in water, the water flow in the piping in the mains under the street are less.
Right.
So when the flow is really high, it's really taking everything with it and keeping things clean. The worst thing that happens is an air pocket can develop in that piping. You got to realize you got about 7,000 miles of piping before it gets to your home.
Wow.
So what could possibly go wrong, right?
Right.
And so if there's a presence of air, there's also a presence of bacteria can build up.
Right.
That's when twice a year they heavily chlorinate the pipe. They just dump tons of chlorine. Right now, in a normal situation, when we come to your home and do a test, we'll show you there's 4 parts per million chlorine in your tap water, as opposed to 1 part per million in your swimming pool. So many times you might be safer drinking that water in your pool.
Wow, that's amazing, Fred. Fred DeFelice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. Now, he represents waterscience.us. He's the owner of waterscience.us. It's a family-run business as well, locally right here in Tampa Bay. And so what's our takeaway, Fred? Because I know you have the water bottle challenge,
right,
getting people stopped from buying the plastics and all that, polluting the environment, and then adding something like this on your home.
Yeah, I see people in Publix all the time with cases of bottled water.
Yeah.
But we've done this. We've actually asked people, tell us what you're spending a week on bottled water.
Yeah.
Besides supermarket, how many times are you running in the gas station and getting a bottle for $1?
Exactly.
So, believe it or not, our financing starts at about $19 a month, depending on the size of your home. And we do have special systems starting with mobile homes, condos, all the way up to estate-size homes.
Nice.
So it's not just one size fits all.
Yeah.
So we can tailor it, and we know exactly what you need. And because of that, the cost is appropriate.
Yeah. It's such a great investment. What is your health worth? What is your life worth and your family's life worth? I think it really comes down to that when you think about what you're putting in your body. Water is one of the major, constructs of our body. I think we're about, 70% water, right?
Closer to 90%.
Is it closer to 90%?
Yeah.
Wow. So, think about that. For example, when you look at what you're putting into your body on a daily basis, especially, the people that drink Cokes and those types of things for a couple different reasons. Stop buying Coke. I won't go there right now.
Right.
But, look at all the sugar basically causing diabetes. And, even a lot of the sports drinks, they're supposed to be healthy, sports drinks are marketed. They're loaded with sugars.
Yeah. Now, you take our water, put some drops of lemon, squeeze some lemon.
Yeah.
Excellent. Funny little story. One of your listeners actually called me,
Yeah.
and he said every morning in the shower he's saying, "Man, I got to do something with this water. I can't stand it."
Yeah.
And he says, "I didn't know what would I do," and he happened to listen in, and he called me that same day that the show aired,
Nice.
and we're actually meeting with him next week.
I love it.
But there's a situation. How many times where we got a situation and we don't know what to do or where to go? Well,
Yes.
now you do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. How can they reach you, my friend?
Easiest thing is the website, waterscience.us.
Okay.
You can email me at fred@waterscience.us.
Awesome.
Or a direct line right to my cell phone.
Yep.
727-804-4562. 804-4562.
Awesome. And he is a pleasure to work with. I can tell you from firsthand experience. Reach out to Fred DeFelice, waterscience.us, and take that bottled water challenge. $19 a month financing starts at. So it's basically a no-brainer at this point. Reach out to Fred, and he's a great guy to work with. So awesome, Fred. Thanks so much, man.
Great. I appreciate everything you do, man.
My pleasure.
Really mean that.
My pleasure, buddy.
Yep.
All right. Coming up, Patrick Morades, Axis Group LLC, PEO, local business owner, PEO, right here in Tampa Bay. Coming up on the show later as well. We're going to talk identity theft prevention, security to your email, hacking. All of that stuff is happening at record numbers right now. Bitcoin, all these different things are so topical right now. Nathan is coming in as well, CTO of Vine IT. Right here in Tampa Bay. Stay with us on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We'll be right back after this short break.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right to the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
My friends, when choosing a listing agent to sell your home, their track record is critically important. Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of Platinum MVP Team at Keller Williams Real Estate. They're consistently rated by the MLS in the top 1% of all Tampa Bay realtors, and that's a big deal. Brandon and Lindsay are always among the top realtors in the state. Call them today at 813-750-0550.
Find them at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Selling commercial or residential property? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. Reach me at 813-670-7372 or platinummvpteam.com.
My name is James DeJerome, and I produce the Consumer Quarterback Show for Brandon Rhymes. The Consumer Quarterback Show is a team, a group of like-minded professionals who partner together to provide our audience sound advice, knowledge, and information to make them wiser consumers. We work with all types of business owners and aggressively promote our local economy. We're currently conducting interviews for our expert contributors. If you own a business or know someone who would benefit from the exposure our show provides, please contact us at 813-750-0550 or online at consumerqb.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We love to help you if you're buying, selling, or investing real estate. We got a great buyer agent team, and the buyer agents are more right now important than ever because they help you win the deal. There's a lot of competition. It's multiple offers. You've got records being set everywhere, and we've got a great buyer agent team at the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We love to help you win in your buying, selling, or investing of real estate. We got some hot properties here. 1602 East MLK. This is a body shop available for sale. Anybody out there say, hey, I got a friend that's in the auto body business. Gill's Body Shop is available for sale right here in Tampa Bay, 1602 East MLK. Now, his business has been in business for 45 years. Very reputable business. Reach out. We'd love to talk to you about that and set up a showing for you. 45 years in the business in Tampa Bay. People are walking in every day. 1602 East MLK, Gill's Body Shop available for sale. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Sun is shining, the weather
Quick shout out to Brothers Easy Moving, the official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. That's Brothers Easy Moving. So whether you're planning a local move or a long distance move, Brothers Easy Moving can help you with that. Reach out to Gary Thacker. Let him know the real estate quarterback sent you. All right, Patrick Morady's back in studio. Welcome back, my friend.
Hey, what's going on, Brandon?
Hey,
Always exciting to be here. So thanks for having me back.
Yeah, excited. I'm interested in seeing Dennis Prager. He's in town, so I'm going to see him tonight.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
right
it's
on.
going to be cool. Cigars with Dennis Prager. I'm not much of a cigar guy, but I love to meet Dennis. But lots of business owners. You know, you as a PEO, professional employer organization, you're getting a pulse of the market. Not only in Tampa Bay because you can do this remotely. You're talking to a lot of business owners. What's kind of your, it seems like you have your thumb on the market, the pulse of the market. What's going on in your world?
So the first 60 days was a bit scary. January, February was really quiet, but over the last call it 45 days, so March, and we're 15 days into April. It's been really uplifting to see, payroll levels are increasing, which is nice, and then also more activity from, just new businesses starting and or older businesses reopening. I was just in communication with one of our clients today. They're preparing to sell, so a lot of acquisitions are taking place as well. So you're seeing a lot more just activity going on in the marketplace right now, which is uplifting considering how it's been over the last several months.
That's right. Yeah, it's very interesting when you look at the market and how some ended up being losers and then some were winners, and you look at the challenges that people have. But people, like you said, real estate obviously we know is booming. I put a lot of my high net dollar investments under contract to developers, like 41 acres. Wow. I got another one at $1 million, another one at $1.4 million, another one at $550 in Safety Harbor, and that's all over the last week.
Right. Wow, that's insane.
Tons of people coming in. Some of these properties that have been sitting, and as a realtor, you're like, man, I want these to sell. When are these going to sell?
And they're popping.
Right.
The real estate market's going insane, and I'm sure you're probably seeing this, especially with some of your developer contacts, is, because we work with a lot of these subs, so these artists and contractors. You got your electricians, your plumbers, your painters, carpenters, and there's been an unfortunate reaction with the stimulus checks, because once those went out and kind of hit in March, although the construction industry is booming, a lot of their workers have up and left or took time off because they got a stimulus check, plus now they go collect unemployment, and they give or take are making about the same, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, whatever it is, to what they were making before, and now they don't have to do that hard labor. So it's really unfortunate, because we've seen where a couple clients have had to halt or stop their payroll and go recruit more people. So I don't know if you're seeing that with some of your development sites and stuff like that. And it's an unfortunate adverse reaction to
unintended consequences. Really, I think it's intended by a lot of on the left. They want to pump people with free money, get them addicted to the free handouts, and then they'll take the $1,400 and they maybe sell a little something on the side. You know what I'm saying? And then that's what our country's going to turn into.
Well, here's what people don't understand. When individuals go on unemployment, as employers, we're paying into the unemployment pool.
Yeah.
But when that pool runs out, we have to borrow from the federal government. And I know we can talk about this a little bit more detail because when we come back from break. But
let's talk about that.
Yeah, I can educate people on what's going to happen, where that additional money is going to come from. Ultimately, it's going to come from the employer.
I want to talk about that. It was $5 trillion in new money in circulation. I heard it said 40% of all money in circulation now is new dollars that were recently printed. Yeah. And it's not even printed. It's actually on a computer screen somewhere. Right. But Patrick Morady's here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. When we come back, we're going to talk about that and more from our expert contributors coming up. Plus, our feel-good story of the day. LSU fraternity brothers pay off mortgage of a house cook 30 years later. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Alrighty, let me know when you guys want to continue. Alrighty then, everyone, please stand by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
All right, thanks for sticking with us here. Consumer Quarterback Show powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping you win. We're a top 1% ranked real estate team here in Tampa Bay. We got some hot lot listings here in Tampa Bay. Lots of vacant land, about 15 listings. 202 South West Shore Boulevard. This is a corner lot just south of Kennedy on West Shore Boulevard, over there by the Center Club and the big bank on the corner there, the big building, Intercontinental. 202 Southwest Shore Boulevard in Tampa. This is a lot for sale. Could be potentially converted to commercial. Right now, I believe it's got a residential zoning on it. Beach Park, and you've got Plant High School District, one of the hottest districts in all of Tampa Bay. 202 Southwest Shore, corner lot available for sale right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. 1780 Clearwater Largo Road, also a corner lot location, commercial building with 40 to 50,000 vehicles per day driving by. And it's just a great investment opportunity for business owners out there. If you're paying rent, why not own? Great opportunity. 1780 Clearwater Largo Road. And you can see all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
And this segment is brought to you by Veteran Gutters. Brandon Porter and his team, they do such a great job. Veteran Gutters, I can tell you from firsthand experience, they are a first-class organization. He did a great job on my home installing gutters, and it's going to help extend your roof life. It's also going to help with that rainy weather. Sometimes it'll flood your flower beds, etc. American-made products, and he is a veteran himself. Veteran Gutters, Brandon Porter. Reach out. Let him know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. All right, Patrick. Patrick Moradi's here, Axis Group LLC, local PEO business owner. And we kind of left off talking about, this printed money, $5 trillion worth of new money. Let me say it again, people that hear the show often, they hear me say this, but, I think right now we're kind of... We're thinking, okay, trillion. What does that actually mean? What's $1 trillion? Tony Robbins breaks it down really easy on one of his CDs, I think it was. But he says something a million seconds ago, so we can get this in a mindset. A million seconds ago was about 2 to 3 weeks ago, right? A billion seconds ago was about 45 years ago. A trillion seconds ago was before Christ. Okay, so think about the impact of that, right? Think about the impact of these trillions of dollars that our government is printing out. Mostly one party, you know who that is doing it. Patrick, how's that affecting the PEO game? Wow. And how's that coming into play with what you were mentioning before?
I'm still digesting that analogy.
Exactly.
A trillion. Wow, that's unbelievable.
Isn't it?
What we were kind of talking about in the last segment about, state unemployment, how it ties in, nothing's free.
Right.
Like these stimulus checks. I mean, that's taxpayer money. That's not free money. And ultimately, what's going to happen in these state unemployment pools, as people are getting compensated the extra money, at some point that's going to have to get paid back to the federal government. So what they did in the Great Recession from the real estate is they increased federal unemployment. So currently, federal unemployment is paid at 0.6 on the first 8,000 of wages. Well, that was increased to 3.6% back in 2008, 2009. I would not be surprised if that happens again. So ultimately, the way that money gets paid back is by the employer. The business owners are the ones, the people that are trying to put people to work and create jobs are ultimately going to be the ones paying back that,
and passing that along to the consumers.
Right.
So it's another form of inflation.
Exactly.
Just like we're seeing with gasoline and food and Publix.
Exactly.
Going to Publix.
So their cost of doing business is going to go up. Boom. They're going to tack it on. Just like when in Florida, I know we passed the $15 an hour minimum wage.
Yeah.
So that's just it's going to create two things. It's going to create more innovation.
Yep.
Because people are going to look for ways to use AI and other technologies to eliminate, lower level employees.
That's right.
And then, obviously the impact of putting more money out in there is, like you said, inflation.
Yeah, and also there's a bill out there as well circulating talking about ending the ability to be 1099. They want you to work for someone as a W-2.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just more consolidation. Let's simplify this. They're
so
trying to get
payroll
rid
taxes,
of the ability
right?
to be self-employed.
Yeah, because when payroll taxes is key. That 7.65% of your wages from on FICA, that's a big number. So to avoid, like you said, and there are a lot of I don't know enough about that bill to comment on it, but I'm sure it probably needs refinement, like most bills that get through. But there are a lot of people that, as a 1099, do cheat the system, and employers that maybe will W-2 one or two people and then have a bunch of 1099s on the side. And the only cause for concern for that is, especially in the construction industry, let's keep it within real estate.
Yeah.
If they're doing that to avoid paying workers' comp, and that person gets hurt,
exactly.
That's not doing good business.
Yeah. So
I'm all in favor of doing good business and doing things the appropriate and right way.
Right.
But forcing someone's hand to be W-2'd, or W-2'ing people that are doing it that right way and are being compliant and that are managing the risk, that wouldn't be appropriate. But I don't know enough about that.
Well, in the real estate space, it would be, for example, Keller Williams, you're 1099, you run your own business, you have your own P&L, but you'd have to adopt, there's another company, I don't want to say their name, but they have more of the W-2 model where everybody's an employee. You don't get paid as much commission because they're going to have to give you a salary. So it's limitations. Right. But yeah, you're right. There's two different sides to that.
And then the other industry that would, be adversely impacted is the trucking industry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so many, owner operators and small trucking logistics firms that, talk about the backbone of our country.
Yeah.
I mean, we have, only so many big ports, but once goods reach those ports, in order for it to get from point A to point B, I mean, those truck drivers, we depend on them.
That's right.
I mean, that's a huge industry that, probably doesn't get talked about enough.
Yeah, that's true. We're talking with Patrick Morades here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Patrick, coming into our last minute or so here, give us some of your top tips, your nuggets of advice, and how folks can reach you.
Yeah, as far as reaching me, I like to be as accessible as possible, so I don't mind giving out my cell phone. So people can reach out to me on my cell phone, which is 813-579-7383. If you text, call. If you prefer to communicate via email, it's patrick@accessgroupllc.com. And, we'll talk to anybody. And I say that because we have the same philosophy that you have. It's always right to do the right thing. We turn more business away than we take on. Mm-hmm. And we end up getting more referrals from those turnaways because we've told them, hey, what you're doing right now is the best situation. It's the best thing you can do for you. If something changes in your business or you hire more people or you get into some work comp issues or HR issues and you need that type of help, give us a call and we'll point you in the right direction. But, that's kind of our guiding principles, if you will.
That's right. Awesome. And I know you're involved in a lot with Children's Cancer Center, doing a lot for charities in the Tampa Bay market. So he's a good guy here. He's on the right team. Patrick Morades, Access Group LLC. You can hit him up directly too, 813-579-7383. Text or call him directly. And good stuff, man. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure to be here.
Awesome, man. All right, coming up, Nathan from Vine IT Security Services. Vine IT, local company, a local business owner, success story here in Tampa Bay. Interesting stuff coming up because I want to dive deep into what's happening with some of the big tech. I mean, when you log into your Gmail account, they're going to own that data. They're going to have that data. So there's a war out there going on with the data and who controls it, and then also the attacks that we see, security systems. The water in Oldsmar was attacked just last month. All these different types of breaches online. So it's an interesting conversation coming up. You don't want to miss it right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes. Knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is Diane Vance with Fairway Independent Mortgage, a member of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Please give me a call for any of your mortgage needs. We do all sorts of loans. If you would like information on a mortgage, you can text me or call me at 727-647-8199. I will take care of all your mortgage needs. Go to my website at dianevance.com.
Ian Beckles here with my man Brandon Rhymes, a.k.a. the real estate quarterback. Brandon, what's happening with the market?
Thanks, Ian. We are in a low inventory market, so any of our listeners are homeowners and would like a free comparable market analysis or a 2.5% listing, we will honor this for the first 3 listeners who call or text in 813-773-1253. Free CMA and a 2.5% real estate listing at 813-773-1253. Check out consumerqb.com. Selling commercial or residential property? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. Reach me at 813-670-7372 or platinummvpteam.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Consumer Quarterback Show. Every day we tell you something good here in our Feel Good story.
Tell me something good.
All right, so a group of Louisiana State University fraternity brothers paid off the mortgage for their former house cook. So this is a pretty cool story out of Louisiana. They called it Jesse Hamilton Day, and about a dozen of the members from a fraternity surprised Hamilton on her 74th birthday, and they paid off her mortgage. It all happened when COVID hit. And they called her up and they said, "Hey, what's going on? How you been?" They kind of recirculated and they said, "Wow, I'm not doing very good. I haven't had jobs. I couldn't afford the home." And after speaking with her children, they raised $45,000 to pay off the mortgage for her. And they gave it to her, and she was quoted as saying, "This has been a blessing to me," Hamilton said. And just what a great story, people coming together, helping someone out in need. So Nathan joining us here, Nathan Ginter, CTO, Vine IT. Welcome in.
Hey, thanks for having me, Brandon. Great to be here.
My pleasure. So yeah, a lot of this space happening, man.
Oh yeah.
Wow, so much to talk about in your world. What's probably most relevant?
So there's a couple of things going on right now. So obviously security always comes up. So
yep.
We're an IT company. A lot of people, when you think of IT, your tendency is to think of devices or maybe a specific thing that you do, but it's really a wide field that butts up against security. And what a lot of people are aware of is cyber security.
Yes.
And those are kind of two different functions. Now
okay.
we do serve both areas, but there's some crazy stories that kind of can help illustrate some of the difference. There's one that came out today that I thought was absolutely wild. So there is a casino that I believe is up in North Carolina that actually just got hacked through a wireless fish tank thermometer.
Wow.
So these guys, obviously, you go to a casino, they want to impress you. They got the wild koi flying around on the walls and the in-wall fish tanks. So these guys had installed just a simple monitoring device that was wireless, and they hooked it into their main network where, all their servers are, customer data, that sort of thing. So an enterprising hacker, actually noticed the thermometer, looks up the specs for it. Now, believe it or not, a lot of times people will buy something on the cheaper side.
Yeah.
And so this particular thermometer had a couple of known security vulnerabilities in it. It's wireless. This guy sets up a laptop in the food court, goes in, starts intercepting the traffic in between, and before you know it, Bob's your uncle. He's got their client database of their high rollers, exfiltrates that up through the internet, and there's a huge data breach for him that's caused a little bit of embarrassment.
Wow.
So one of the things I tell people all the time is, we try to use your business network and your business devices for business.
Okay.
I actually myself keep, I'm a avid e-gamer as a rugged indoorsman, and so what I like to do is make sure that I run an IT company, so I'm fairly savvy and I'm fairly confident I would notice if something was going on. But just to be safe, the things that I do for recreation, I keep a separate device for those, and I use my business for business. I don't charge my phone plugged into my computer. I keep my Bluetooth turned off. A lot of people don't know Bluetooth, big vulnerability. If you leave that on all the time, it's a very actually simple protocol that has very little security on it.
So go into your device.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So Bluetooth is meant to be a simple way to connect two devices with very low security. The maximum security for it is actually a 4-digit PIN number, which is very easy to cycle through. I mean, anybody with they actually make custom devices that'll scan through those. Wow. They can blow through all those ports in about 3-4 seconds. So it really is that quick. Whew. Also, the traffic is very easy if you're ever transmitting any wireless data. It's one thing if you got your headphones on, that sort of thing. But when you're actually using that to sync any data between devices, it's super easy to pull that traffic in between. Okay. And you'll never know what's going on because it's all wireless. Right. It could be somebody sitting 10 feet from you, at a coffee shop.
That's right. So. And just a general to be careful of is connecting to Wi-Fi at the food court or at the airport.
So there's a couple things with that, and I would say absolutely, always when possible, try to connect to a secure network. Most of the things going on these days, most of the websites that you're going to go to, everybody has switched over to what they call HTTPS. If you're ever in your web browser and you go to your banking website, if you ever notice a little green lock up there, that's saying that traffic is actually encrypted. So everything going from your browser all the way up to your bank is actually already encrypted for you. Okay. I do recommend, though, if you're going to be on public Wi-Fi, anything like that, there's a number of really cheap, I'm talking $1, $2 a month, what they call VPN services.
Right.
So your whole connection is encapsulated in, think of it as a tunnel through the internet, like a pipe, where data is flowing like water. Yeah. That is actually secured so that no one can see into, the individual pieces of data that you're sending. And
I just set up ExpressVPN.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. That's a great one. And there really are, literally 100 of them out there.
Wow. Yeah.
So, there's some of them that are better for privacy than others. Some of them keep logs of what you're doing. Some of them don't. Okay. But typically speaking, most of the top 10, that you go Research Express, there's one there, NordVPN, there's a bunch of them. They don't keep any records of your data. And one of the reasons why that's important is not really, to me, it's about a general security posture. You had mentioned before the break a little bit about how much your data has value. Yes. And all the people trying to get at your data.
Yes.
So we'll talk about two big breaches that have really been making a lot of news lately at a level that, frankly, was even alarming to me. So Facebook and LinkedIn both had breaches that affected roughly 500 million people.
Wow.
Craziness. Like in 2013, Facebook had a data breach that affected about 30 million people. To give you an idea of why that's a big deal, when they pulled down that data, they got not only all of the stuff that you post and information about you and potentially some very personal information that you just don't want out there.
Right.
But they also got everybody's email addresses and passwords.
Holy cow.
So there's a couple of effects for that are absolutely wild. So the craziest thing that people don't actually think about. So if I've just pulled down, so this is Facebook, ostensibly used by every demographic in the world.
Yep.
I've now got a list of 30 million passwords. I've got the best database in the world to start doing metrics on what are the most common passwords.
Yes.
What are people doing for iteration? So it actually made hacking a lot easier, not because of just the straight up mapping of, say, my email address to my password. Let's go try that on some other platforms. This dude uses it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Maybe he uses it on LinkedIn.
Right.
The other thing that's wild about it is it gave them like this crazy set of analytics, and hackers are data guys, to begin with for the most part. So that was really wild. Now imagine they got a hold of 500 million.
Wow.
And from two separate places. So, there's the repercussions for that we won't even see fully. Microsoft has already released a bulletin this year. It basically just says your password doesn't matter. What that means is that, your password might be great for keeping your wife out of your email, but any experienced hacker, it doesn't matter how many characters it is. If you got spaces and, a little smiley face at the end, that's great, but it's not really doing anything for security anymore. The brute force attempts are really good.
Wow.
The real protection and the lowest hanging fruit is something that's called MFA, multi-factor authentication, sometimes
Right.
also called two-factor. If you've ever logged into your bank account or an investment account and you put in your username and password, and then it asks to send you a usually 6-digit text or email, that's a secondary form of authentication beyond username and password.
Right.
They also call it presence, which is great. Highly recommend that. In fact, if you own a business, whatever platform you're on and you're putting client data into, we have law offices that we manage, title companies, insurance, every vector that you can think of, real estate agencies. If what you're putting client data into on a regular basis isn't prompting you for that two-factor authentication, start doing research on another platform. Listen, I work on both the IT, which is the functionality side, and the security side, so I understand those things. They're always at odds a little bit, and sometimes you can't just flip a switch and say I'm going to move to a new system. But start doing some research into it. Start looking into it, because in every case that I have seen of ransomware or anything else where people either lost permanent data or data was exfiltrated, multi-factor authentication was not involved. So,
let me ask you this question.
Sure.
And by the way, if you just joined us, we're talking with Nathan Ginter here. He's the CTO of Vine IT, local company based right here in Tampa Bay, out of St. Pete, aren't you?
Correct. Yep.
Pete.
We're right off of 94th Ave there, and we've been in business for 5 years now. We're a veteran-owned company. I myself am not a veteran, but my partner is, and we employ a number of vets, and it's something that's near and dear to our hearts. There, we love being native Tampa Bay. I'd say a good 80% of our client base is here. We do service all of Florida. We got a couple of clients, on the West Coast, of the nation as well. But this is really our focus around here, and the clients that we love to serve. I moved down here about 5 years ago from Pennsylvania, and I always tell everybody, visit Pennsylvania, live at the beach.
There you go.
Don't do it the other way around.
That's right. Well, let me ask you this. So what I was looking at is, with the threat of big tech, you're seeing a lot of stuff talking about big tech. And I want to ask you, when we're giving them our information and we're not using a VPN, and before the break I had mentioned if you just use like a Google, for example, Gmail account.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
Okay. So there, understand that, kind of like we were talking, your previous guest was talking about, there's nothing free in life.
Right.
Facebook doesn't exist because they really love showing you pictures of what your aunt's having for lunch.
Right.
They exist because they are an advertising and marketing company. You are the product that they're selling.
Right.
So that's one. It's same with Gmail. They're not trying to make free email for the world. They're trying to make the world's best marketing engine that they possibly can. And again, you are the product. So be cognizant of what data you're putting into those systems, and also sometimes it is just a matter of trade-off. I use Facebook myself. I do have some privacy concerns about who can see what. So there are settings that you can change as far as what your default post goes to.
Yep.
Because sometimes you might not want that being public, or you might want that being friends only. So I always recommend take a couple minutes. They've actually gotten very good at making those sort of non-technical jargon, so to speak, for those items where you're putting data out there that could potentially be read by somebody else. I also have taken some time to go into the notification setting. We're all trying to watch screen time and how much info is coming at us.
Right.
So I actually have any notification where somebody hasn't directly sent me a message or tagged me, they're all turned off. I use Facebook on my terms when I want to. It makes me a more productive person.
Right.
And I end up staring at my phone a lot less. So,
a lot less, yeah.
So that's something good. But back to your question. So so we'll take Gmail as an example. When you get emails for something, and it's also important to understand the way that the big tech companies are working now. A lot of them are sharing data.
Yes.
By the way, some of those are the way some of their data is getting stolen, because they're building these pipelines between each other.
Right.
And somebody's figuring out where the valve is and doing a little loosening here and siphoning off a little bit of that.
Scary.
Yeah, and they're it's already been widely discussed and
got about 30 seconds left, brother.
Gotcha. So anyway, long story short, you want to make sure that you are aware whatever you're doing in those free systems, somebody's scraping it and somebody's going to try and sell you something. I always say, if I'm going to see an ad anyway, hey, I don't really have a problem with it being something that I'm at least relatively interested in.
Right. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, that's cool. So that's that's a good way to look at it. Well, hey, a lot more territory to cover, man. We'll have to have you back on. And talk more. But,
Absolutely.
Local company right here, CTO. He's the CTO, Vine IT. Nathan Ginter, sorry, and Patrick Morades as well. Fred DeFelice. Great show here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And as we always say, we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. Donate some time, donate some blood, and be a force for good. We'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.